Good morning. I hope you're doing well. I've got some book related things to catch up on. I don't have it on me right now. I have been so engrossed filming my Throne of Glass reading vlog that I haven't had time to do anything else. Like, those books are thick and intense, and I have just been doing nothing but reading as fast and as much as I can. I'm about to start the tandem read probably tomorrow, and then I only have like 3 books left. So my goal was to finish that in August. That's not going to happen. I'll probably have to finish a book or 2 in September, but I have other book related things to do. So this is my bullet journal for the year. And these are the books that I've read. However, I'm behind, I think, on the last month. And I don't know why. I just like to print the covers and then I do my own little stars. They're not good. They're all uneven. I'm not good at stars. But I have the last month. I have July that I need to print and put on because I read 12 books in July. And you know what? I think I undersold myself when I made my bullet journal kind of setup in January of this year, because I gave myself this page, and then one more page to fill out with books. And I think I'm going to surpass that. So I might have to just start like taping or stapling some other pages in. But for now, I think I need to print, cut, paste, all of those in here. And then what else I need to do is I need to log all of my books from the year into an app or 2. I have a GoodReads account. Is it updated? Absolutely not. I have never once, no, that's not true. I think I have like a handful of books in my GoodReads, but I have not updated it in months. So like, I don't think any of this is on there. It looks like I don't read. And then my friend put me onto an app called Storygraph, which is kind of like GoodReads. It feels a little bit better. It's more like analytical. It's kind of like analyzes what you're reading, like what genre, what kind of pacing do you like, what kind of, all these different things, and it puts it into a graph. It's really fun. So I did just log all of the Throne of Glass books that I have read up until this point this morning, but I want to retrospectively go back and log like all of these, because I did realize, and this is going to sound so morbid, but I have not been updating like any apps in terms of what I've been reading this year. And I realized that like if my house were to like burn down or get flooded, this would be destroyed. All of my physical books would be destroyed, and then I'd have no way of knowing what I read. I would forget, like I forget. So I'm going to put them in an app so they can live on the internet. And that will make me feel a lot better. And then I also want to share my TBR for the rest of, I don't want to say the year, but I have like a lot of fall books that I'm planning to read over September and October. And I think I have like 20 physical books that I am forcing myself to read before I buy anything new, with the exception I have a couple like first books in a series. So when I get to that, if I love it, I will allow myself to buy the sequel. And also I might see if I can convince my husband to let me buy like a fall themed book or 2, just because I feel like seasonally I need to get the book itch out of my system. But that's for another time. So right now I'm going to print out my books and I'm going to put them in my journal. I'm going to do my little star system and I'll be caught up and it'll be good. stars have grown more and more unhinged as time goes on. That feels good. But I did end up, I'm already on the final page, and I still have August, September, October, November, December. That's so many more months of reading. So I'm probably just gonna like take pages from the back, like empty pages, and like staple them in here. And then next year I'm gonna have to find, maybe I'm gonna do, you know what? Ooh, idea. I think next year, instead of putting it in my bullet journal, like I might do a tracker in my bullet journal, just like maybe just like list what I've read, what month, and my rating without printing anything. And I might do like an actual physical reading journal because I love the visualization of this. I might have to get like a star stencil or a star stamp or something. But I'm thinking it'll be like a much smaller notebook, and I can actually like write out or print out a review and glue it in. And I've seen some girls do, like, they print out pictures for like the aesthetic of it. And like, honestly, any book, go to Pinterest and like type in just for the summer aesthetic, and like the Cruel Prince aesthetic, like all of these books, just type in the title and aesthetic in Pinterest and you're gonna get some cute inspired images. So I'm thinking that's what I'll do, and that will be a video come January, I'm thinking. But like an actual reading journal where it's like, this is the book, here are some images, my star rating, and then like either write or print out a little review just to kind of keep track, because I so much love physical stuff. Like, I did recently get a Kobo. I was going to show you guys that, but I still prefer physical books, just like I prefer to have a physical record of an album or a physical CD. I like to have physical movies, physical books. Like, I just love physical media in general, so I really love being able to like print and see all of these here. So I think next year I'm just going to do it better. I have more faith in myself, honestly. I was like, I'm going to struggle to fill up these 2 pages, but I have. That's 2, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. It's 48 books that I've read already, and I haven't logged anything from August, which I've read already 5 books. So I'm doing a lot better than I thought I was, so that's good. But also, now that I have all of these printed out here, I can just look at my journal and put these all into GoodReads, because I have what I read, I have my stars. The order got a little bit blurry. I'm not 100% sure what I read in what month, so I'm going to fib a lot of those dates just to get them logged in. And I think I'm going to put them into GoodReads because you can import your GoodReads into Storygraph. So I'm going to start with that, and then I'll import them. Okay, so I don't nearly have everything in my GoodReads. I'm going to screen record my phone and pop it up here so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so the first book I read this year was The Raven Cycle, the last book in the Raven Cycle, so that's accurate. And then I did read Wildfire. And then the Hunger Games books, I have You Reach Sam, All Good People Here, Meet Me by the Lake, that's a little bit out of order, and then The Perfect Marriage, Handmaid's Tale, yes, Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone, Hue of Blue, Tomorrow, and Home is Where the Bodies Are. Okay, so that's all stuff I've read, but now I need to add A Court of Thorns and Roses. I read that. Yes, read, and then, what do I want to rate it? What did I rate it? I rated it 4 stars. That's accurate. Court of Mist and Fury into red, and that was 5 whopping stars. It's the fan favorite, of course. Court of Wings and Ruins, I read that as well. 4 stars. Yep, that's what I gave it. And then Frost and Starlight, I did read, and I gave this one 3 stars only because it was too dang short. It was a little novella. And then I also gave A Court of Silver Flames 3 stars. And I feel like that's a little controversial. But I've talked about it before, and my reasoning is, I'm Team Feyre, okay? Little Miss Nesta, I understand, and I do think that it's a good book about her trauma. However, what she did to Feyre was still like pretty unforgivable, and as the youngest sibling who has often felt like the oldest sibling and had to take care of my older siblings, it was a struggle to feel sympathy for her. I did really enjoy her character development. But the other thing is, and spoilers, okay, if you haven't read A Court of Thorns and Roses series, spoilers, turn away now. You have 5 seconds. Okay, in the book, Feyre is pregnant. However, the story is from Nesta's perspective, and I didn't like that at all. That felt way too personal to have somebody else telling the story of Feyre's pregnancy, and especially all of the complications that came along with it. I was like, this is not your story to tell. I didn't like seeing it from her perspective, but I digress. Let's keep adding. I still thought it was a good book, and I'm fine with that. Fourth Wing. I gave 5 stars because disability representation. And then I didn't read Iron Flame right back to back, but I'm going to log that one right now anyway. Five stars. What else did I read? My Dark Romeo. Oops. Gets 1 star because it was terrible. I can't believe women read that. Okay, and now here is where I stopped putting my books in order, apparently. So now it's just all of it's out the window. Hello Stranger, I gave 3 stars because it was a cute story. It just wasn't like my forte. And I think there's a lot of room for that. You know, it's like, this was a good written book. It was a cute story, well done story, but it just didn't like tickle my fancy, and there's nothing wrong with that. And it may be for somebody else, but it wasn't for me. The Cartographers got 4 stars. I thought it was an almost perfect book, but there was like 100 pages there where we just kind of kept repeating the plot, and I was like, we get it already, you know, let's move on. Cleopatra and Frankenstein got 3 stars. Which sounds like weird because I absolutely love that book. However, the subject material was just so heavy that at times it was hard for me to read. Powerless. Originally, when I read Powerless, I gave it 3 stars because I had hope. There was enough in there that I was like, this could be something. And then I hated Powerful because how can you get me to care about a character that I don't know? Like, she was really going for like something gut-wrenching, but it just wasn't it. And then I'm just going to log Reckless right after that because, yeah, that just makes sense in my brain. I'm surprised I can't give it less than 1 star. Like a half star would be generous. Everyone on this train is a suspect. I hate it though when the covers on GoodReads do not match the cover of the book that I bought. I think it's like different countries have different titles, like different cover art. Earl's Trip was a Regency era one that was fine, but again, it just wasn't really my fancy. Like, it was well written. I have no complaints about the book itself other than that, like, it just wasn't for me. Light Lark gets 2 stars. Again, I feel like there's something there. And I will say for Light Lark, Nightbane, the sequel, gets 3 stars. So I'm hoping that each book just kind of like improves. There's potential. This Summer Will Be Different by Carly Fortune. I love being Canadian and reading like Canadian romance. I'm out of focus. Canadian romance books because there's just so many little hints of Canadianness in them. And also they're like all over our superstores and stuff. Bad Summer People was such a disappointment. They really kind of sold it as like rich people vacationing, murder mystery, but it was just rich people really being jerks to each other the entire time. Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez gets 5 stars. I was giggling and kicking my feet. I loved it. Cruel Prince series. The entire Cruel Prince series gets 5 stars from me all around. Cruel Prince. Ooh. And then, The Wicked King is the second one. This is tiring work. I'm almost done, but this is exhausting. Dead Romantics. Anything by Ashley Poston, honestly, is like a 5-star read at this point. Love and Olives was a good book, but it was a little bit too YA for me. And that's kind of what I'm not giving it 5 stars. Wrong rating, 3 stars. Again, solid story, but I think just intended for a younger audience. I'm realizing now at 27 that there is some YA, like The Cruel Prince would be considered YA, right? Like it's not overly gruesome, it's not overly sexual, there's nothing really too adult about it. But it's written so well that it doesn't like treat the audience like it's young. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like some YA books are just a little too young. Anyway, Funny Story by Emily Henry is the first and only Emily Henry book that I have read. I did get People We Meet on Vacation. I got that one on my Kobo. So I'm going to read that once I am done. I think right after I'm done with the Throne of Glass series, just because it does feel like more of a summary book. That makes sense. One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns both get 5 stars. Read Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. I picked that one up after I read Just for the Summer. They're set like in the same universe. A little bit of crossover characters. Again, so cute, but only getting 4 stars because I didn't like the trope at the end. And that's just such a personal preference that I can't fault the author for that. 7 Year Slip also gets 5 stars. Only 2 more books to log. Yes. Raiders of the Lost Heart. Why isn't it popping up? There it is. Okay. 3. I gave it 2.5, but GoodReads does not let me give half stars, so I'm going to give it 3. And then finally, a novel love story by Ashley Poston. Again, 5 stars. And that concludes putting everything into GoodReads. Now I need to import it into Storygraph in a second. Okay, it's time to see if I can import everything from GoodReads into my Storygraph. So, okay. Also, if you're seeing that little shadow, that is a cutout of Robert Pattinson, and he lives in my lamp. I have nothing to add. Where? I'm lost. Yes, I found it. GoodReads import. First I have to go back to my GoodReads app and I have to export. Okay, I'm gonna have to do this manually because I'm very much too stupid to figure out how to export and upload my GoodReads library. So I probably won't vlog this whole thing because that would be heckin' annoying. I'm just gonna do like a quick upload well, not a quick. I'm going to manually upload everything, and then I'm going to kind of give you guys a tour of Storygraph and why I'm like so obsessed with it, or I'm going to be. Okay, I've put all of my books into Storygraph now. I haven't finished rating all of them yet, but I've put them all in, marked them as read, and I kind of like guesstimated about when I read them because you can choose a start date and an end date. And I just have a very vague idea going off of here of like what books I read in what month. So I kind of made up the dates to kind of just fit in. I'm going to do better though. I'm going to start actually paying attention now. But you can see on the screen recording here that I've got, this is kind of your little stats here. So I read 52 books with 20,470 pages. Average time to finish is 4 days, which is accurate, about 3 to 4 days, I would say. Sometimes longer books take longer, obviously. I love this little graph here that shows just kind of like what kind of, what am I saying? Like what kind of genres I read. So like emotional, adventurous, and dark are kind of like the top 3 categories. There's a little bit of lighthearted, some tense, mysterious, hopeful, reflective, sad, that kind of thing. It breaks it down into such a cool little chart. The pace of books here you can see is like medium paced versus fast paced. Ooh. I definitely prefer a good medium paced because I don't want it to be over too soon, you know? Page numbers, so my sweet spot is like 300 pages to 499 pages. And of course, I read books that are less, I read books that are more, but like that kind of in between page is the majority of what I read. Fiction versus nonfiction, of course, I only read fiction, and that's not like a strict rule, that's just what it has been. My therapist does want me to read a nonfiction book. I'll probably get that on my Kobo, but yeah, and I don't know if that's something I would log as reading either. Like it totally counts, and it is obviously a book that has been read, but I don't know, that just kind of feels more personal. Like I also read my Bible and I do my devotions, but I'm not marking down how many pages of the Bible I've read, if that makes sense. Genres here, I'm really surprised that romance is at the top of the list. I'm not sure what they're all categorizing as romance. Like, is A Court of Thorns and Roses a romance? Does it fall into the fantasy category? Is it both? Like, not 100% sure, but at the bottom we have classics, short stories, historical, and crime as genres that I have not read, which is interesting. I don't know, crime slash mystery, I would almost, is like almost the same thing. Like in everyone in my family has killed someone and everyone on this train is a suspect. Like crimes were committed in both of those. Yes, it's a mystery who done it, but crimes were committed. But I digress. Yeah, here I mostly read print. I don't read a whole lot of digital. The most read authors is interesting. Obviously Sarah J. Maas, because I've read the most of her books. Holly Black, I've read 4 books. Suzanne Collins, 3 books. And then Lauren Roberts, also 3 books, which I didn't enjoy any of Lauren Roberts' books, but it's interesting that she's like the number 4 author on my list. And that's just because it's not that I don't like to read a lot from the same author. Like obviously I've read all of A Court of Thorns and Roses, and I'm working through all of Throne of Glass. So obviously I've read a lot of Sarah J. Maas. Holly Black, I read like the Cruel Prince series, so that was 4 books. And then Suzanne Collins, I reread The Hunger Games earlier this year. That's 3 books again. So I don't know. Not a lot, but whatever. And I love this little graph here that kind of just shows how throughout the year, like how my reading has kind of spiked. Obviously September through December is flatline because that hasn't happened yet, but I like have read the most in July, which is fair because that's when I did my 24-hour reading challenge where I read almost 4 books in one single day, so that makes sense. My average rating is 3.93, which is fair. I'm very sticky with 5 stars. Like I don't just want to give them away for free. But yeah, I love Storygraph. I'll have mine linked down below for you guys if you want to follow me or do your own. But I need to stop looking at my phone screen for a little while because my head's kind of throbbing a little bit. Oh hey, we switched locations again. I clearly have been starved for talking about books. So I apologize for how insanely long and chatty this vlog is. But it is what it is. I wanted to quickly share like the rest of my fall, maybe winter physical TBR, because honestly, I need to save money. I really do need to stop buying books. And like I said, there's a couple of fall ones I want, so I'm really hoping like, what is it, like the pumpkin spice cafe or like the pumpkin cafe? I don't know. There's something like that I've seen all over the internet. I'm like, that's too cute not to have for October, to read in October. So I'm thinking I might allow myself to buy a book or two for fall, and then hopefully I'm done all of this by wintertime, because I do love to read like cheesy Christmas romance books. But anyway, I'm going to quickly share the rest of my physical TBR. Severance by Ling Ma, which is an apocalyptic workplace book. I'm so excited. Circe, it's Greek mythology, right? I bought this months ago and I just haven't sat down to read it, but everybody loves it. I have Once Upon a Broken Heart, which I hate this cover. It's not good. Everybody else I see on Pinterest, on Instagram, on YouTube, on TikTok has the beautiful pink cover, and I'm sad that this is what I have. But this is a trilogy, so if I do like this one, I am allowing myself to buy the sequels. I have Midnight Sun because I haven't read it, and obviously I'm obsessed with Twilight. So I'm going to do a reading vlog probably in October on this, because this is a thick boy. This is a big boy, and this is Twilight from Edward's perspective, and I'm just kind of excited to dive back into that world, but I can't commit to like reading the entire series again. The Curse of Ophelia, another fantasy book. Again, only the first one. I got this one on my birthday, which was 2 months ago, and I haven't read it yet, so I want to read that. I have Alias Grace by Margaret Atwood. I'm trying to read like a lot of Margaret Atwood because I just haven't. This one is about a woman who is like accused of killing her boss, so I'm excited to read that. Bright Young Women. This is two women who team up after they're like kind of linked by a murderer. Like, I think they both know somebody who was murdered by the same guy, and so they kind of link up and stuff ensues. I have Such Sharp Teeth, which is a woman who starts turning into a werewolf. You can't get more October fall than that. Camp Zero, which again, I can't wait to explain this book once I have read it and know what it is. But this woman is basically undercover from the government, infiltrating things like, I don't know. I'm very intrigued and I'm excited to read it. We have The Serpent and the Wings of Night. Wow. Very excited. I can't remember when I bought this. I feel like it was not too long ago. Anyway, again, another first book, so if I like it, I can get the sequel. I have The Mother Thing, which I bought back in like June, and I've been so excited to read this fall. It's about a woman who is haunted by her dead mother-in-law's ghost. So fun. The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. Everybody talks about this, but it's kind of like a thriller, so I've been saving it. I have My Roommate is a Vampire, very fall. And Love in the Time of Serial Killers, again, very fall. I have this one. Oh yes, I just bought this one. I could not resist. I'm so excited. Keanu Reeves wrote this book with China Novelle. The Book of Elsewhere. It's a sci-fi book. And well, honestly, look, there's John Wick himself. There's Keanu Reeves. I love Keanu Reeves. He writes a book, I'm gonna buy it. I have The Throne of the Fallen, which is a standalone fantasy book, but it is thick. So I'm excited to read that. And then lastly, I have The Book of Night by Holly Black. And I can't remember. I think this is a standalone. I actually cannot remember. Ooh, I can't remember. But anyway, that's on my physical TBR. And they all are very like fantasy / mystery thriller, like very kind of fall vibes. There's really no romance in here. So I think I would kind of want to get like a little cheesy fall romance just to kind of split the difference, kind of change things up a little bit. But that is my physical TBR. And other than maybe a book or 2 for fall. I am not trying to buy anything else. I really have to pace myself from going insane. But honestly, on average, the last couple of months, I've been reading 10 to 12 books a month. So if I can keep that up, this should go fast. But I am like throwing like really big books in there in between. So that kind of slows down my average a little bit. But all that being said, I'm really sorry for talking your ear off, but you did click on this video. Thank you for hanging out with me. While I talk about books, while I do some of my bookish things, I will actually leave my Goodreads and my Storygraph links down below so that we can like hang out and spy on each other, see what we're reading. But that's gonna do it for today. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys next time. Bye guys.